So we did a Harry Potter themed thing at the end of July just to celebrate Harry Potter's birthday. And so the first year I came with like 2 drinks, and the next year, so that's what happens. There's a theme, and then it's in my mind the whole time. I'm just adding to it. And this last year, what I did was I added to it a house flight. So it was a flight of 4 different cocktails that were different colors, a red, a yellow, a green, and a blue. And I had to figure out how to get these colors to be right without yellow. And you don't want to be wimpy, right? You could do lemonade for yellow, but that's not the same yellow. Like you need that golden yellow. So I did turmeric and ginger for that one.
Okay.
For the red one, I did goji berry. For the green one, I used green spirulina and matcha. And for the blue one, I used blue spirulina, which I learned green spirulina, if you use too much of it, it tastes like fish food. So that's why I had to use matcha, mellow it out, just get the color and not that fishy flavor. But. So
This episode is brought to you by The Bar Book. Discover your perfect pour. Join today for free and take the guesswork out of finding spirits and cocktails you'll love. Drink smarter, explore more, and enjoy with confidence on the Bar Book app on Apple and Android.
Hi, and welcome to the Liquor Connoisseur. I'm Crystal. We have Roger behind the camera today. I don't know why interviews scare him, but here we are. Today we are here with Erin from Stripe Lion Distillery, and she's going to tell us all about Stripe Lion and their wonderful rums. So, welcome.
Thank you. So Stripe Lion Distilling was a brainchild of me and my husband, Kevin. We are rum enthusiasts first. We have a collection of rum at home, almost 400 different types of rums that we've collected over the course of the past almost 20 years.
Oh, wow.
I don't like to admit that I'm that old.
Same.
Right? But so we were at a rum festival at one point in time, and my husband said, I really like chemistry. I think I can make rum. And I'm like, well, let's see what you can do. And we kind of did our learning and did our testing. What he was making was fantastic. So we decided to kind of throw it in. So our distillery right now, unfortunately, is in the middle of a move. Has been located in Woodbury, New Jersey, which is in Gloucester County, New Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia, for the past 4.5 years. And because of a landlord change, we're actually looking for a new location and packing up this location. We'll still be nearby, still in South Jersey. We don't have a new location selected yet, so you got to stay tuned for that one.
All right, we'll definitely keep you all updated on their progress as they make this big move. Yep. So you guys are different. You don't own just the brand, you all distill it too.
Correct, and that's kind of unusual. There are only a few Black-owned distilleries. So the difference between owning a brand and owning a distillery is when you own a brand, you are responsible for making sure you know what the liquid is in the bottle and how it's presented, what's the story behind it. You source things, and there's definitely a lot of creative activity that goes into that. But ours is all of that, plus we make it, we manufacture it. So we manufacture our rums from molasses. So a little back education about rum for people who may not know. Rum is a distilled spirit. And rum has to be made starting with sugarcane or a sugarcane byproduct. You cannot make rum starting from flowers or fruit or grains. You have to start with sugarcane, a sugar syrup, or molasses. Molasses is the byproduct. When you're making sugar crystals for baking sugar, the molasses is kind of what's left over. And historically, that's what most rum is made from. Because if you own a sugar field, you can make more money by selling both the sugar to someone for baking and then use the molasses to make rum. We start from molasses, we add yeast, we add water, and that yeast gets awakened by the water, similar to if you ever start like pizza dough or bread dough. And the yeast are looking for something to eat, and they eat that sugar that's in molasses. They make carbon dioxide and alcohol. So that's kind of a lower alcohol percent by volume liquid. And then we take that liquid and we put it through a still. I'll send you guys a picture of our still.
Yes, yes.
The still is a piece of equipment that you use to take advantage of the fact that every chemical has a specific boiling point or a temperature where that chemical turns from its liquid form to the vapor form. So we put our liquid in there, we heat it up, and as it's heating up, all the chemicals separate, and we're able to just collect the ethanol and its friends, and that's what we drink. That's what ends up being the rum.
That is awesome. So you guys go through the heads, tails, and hearts as well?
Yep. So the heads are the first part. You don't want that. That's going to contain things that might kill you. Probably doesn't taste good either, right? Methanol, acetone, that's nail polish remover. Nobody wants that. But the hearts is really what you want to keep.
Yeah.
That's the part that contains the ethanol and all the other ethanol byproduct. He's the chemist. I'm not the chemist of the group. And that's the part that tastes the best. And the tails actually are important too. So the tails contain alcohol, but they're high organic compounds. So they're very complex compounds, and they taste very strong.
Okay.
And so the tails really shouldn't go into something like ours. All of these that you see in front of you are all unaged. If you're aging something, though, you do want to leave in tails because the tails interact with the wood in a barrel to create all those delicious flavors you taste in an aged spirit compared to an unaged spirit. So when we do our distillations, we have to really think about what we're doing in the process. You have to know what you're doing. Are you going to put this in a barrel? Well, then you might want to leave some tails in. Are you going to put it right in a bottle for people to enjoy? Please don't put tails in that. That's going to taste nasty, right? So we do a lot of the production ourselves.
So it sounds like Striped Lion rums are smooth, and I think we're going to try that out with some overproof.
Yeah, so this is the overproof rum. So our overproof rum is bottled at 60% alcohol by volume. That's 120 proof. It is just one yeast strain used in this one. So your yeast strain can actually give different flavor profile to the ending, the resultant alcohol spirit. And our signature, as it turns out, we actually use 2 different yeast strains, 2 different distillations, and then we blend them. Okay. But this is just one of them. It's really smooth. My husband always says, like, I want to make all the rums so that you can enjoy the meat. So, you can't shoot it back. You're not supposed, I don't let people, so in our distillery, people were like, can I have a shot? I'm like, we don't do shots because shots are for just getting alcohol, not tasting it. But our rums are for tasting. Yeah. So
this is going to be an experience. Yep. Cheers. Oh, wow.
So when, there are lots of things that are bottled at a higher proof than 50%, and a lot of things kind of, you get this heat all over and you feel like somebody lit fire to you, and you get warmth with this, not necessarily heat. I think definitely, like, this is one of my favorite rums that we make because it's versatile. Like, you can put this in a punch and it tastes smooth. Your punch still tastes good, but you get what you need from your punch.
Oh my goodness.
You can taste some citrus flavors and some vanilla flavors in it.
You also get that on the nose as well.
Yep, some nice taste profiles. This overproof is really, this is actually our most awarded one.
Okay.
So we've entered into the San Francisco Spirits Competition. We entered the New Orleans competition that's part of Taste the Cocktails a couple of years ago. We've won a couple of Bartender Spirits Awards. This one has won 5 different awards.
It definitely tastes award-winning.
Thank you.
And then all your flavors are all natural.
All of the flavors are natural. So all the flavors actually start off as overproof, and then we put it back through the still. And our still has a gin basket on it, which means that there's kind of a perforated basket in the vapor path, so that we put the ingredient we want to use for flavoring in there, and the alcohol vapors come through there. Alcohol is a solvent, so it picks up the flavor oils off of whatever we put in there and pulls it over into the rum. Okay. We also, personally, we don't feel like adding sweeteners to our rum is necessary. As a manufacturer, we're actually allowed to add up to 2% of color or additives if we wanted to, and don't have to disclose them on the label. But one of our main missions has been to make sure that our labels are transparent.
Nice.
So as part of our transition, we're also adding to our profiles some liqueurs. And to make a liqueur, you have to add sugar. And even though it's obvious that sugar's in a liqueur, we will be putting that on the label and telling people what kind of sugar we use to sweeten it. But none of our flavors contain sweetener. You don't need sweetener to get flavor.
Yeah.
When people come and visit us at the distillery and they do a tasting and they have one of the flavors, I tell them, they're not sweet. You're going to taste rum first, and then you taste the flavor just right after, because it just takes a little longer for those flavor oils to reach your tongue. Yeah. But then you taste actual natural flavors. And the beautiful thing is they work then well in cocktails or in cooking. You can use them for baking because they taste just like you would expect the rum to taste.
I believe you said the spice rum is good for French toast.
It is. Would you like to try some of that? Yeah. Let me finish up the overproof.
Straight face. We try to tell our viewers, don't be afraid of the proof.
Correct.
I think the flavor starts at about 50%. And with that being 60,
It does not
So
feel
amazing.
or taste like a 60%. We we had a cocktail on our spring menu called the Queen Bee.
okay.
It was kind of like a bee's knees, but I used our overproof rum instead. And there was this lady who was there with her friend. She had met her friend. They were there for a couple hours. She had like 2 or 3 of them. And she went to leave, and then she came back, and I thought she forgot her purse. She's like, no, I had to call my husband to come get me because like the drinks are so smooth.
Yeah.
She didn't feel like she was drinking overproof until she was like, I should not be driving this car. So that was like kind of a funny story.
Oh, man.
Our spiced rum, and you can smell the spices right on the nose. Like, it's interesting. So many people comment, right? Our spiced rum is clear, and people are used to seeing a brown rum as a spiced rum. And that doesn't necessarily mean that people making spiced rum are using artificial flavors, but the way that most people flavor spiced rum is almost the same way that you would make tea. It's called maceration. So you'd put your spice ingredients in almost like a mesh bag, a tea bag, put your rum or whatever, like your flavoring in a vat, and then dip that in there. And the same way that your clear water turns brown when you put tea in it, the spiced rum turns brown from the spices. But because we put this in during the distillation, nothing that's distilled comes out. Everything's clear when it comes out of a still.
That's really cool.
But you definitely get all the flavors. So my favorite, this is great in cocktails, and it's really great with Coke.
Okay.
Really great with Coke.
I can get, because that spiciness that you get out of Coke it matches.
And we don't have vanilla in this, but Coke has kind of this vanilla flavor. And so what I found is that adding vanilla to spice kind of changes the profile, softens it just a little bit.
Okay.
So like the first bottle of this that we brought to our house was gone in 3 days because of rum and Cokes. Like my husband was just drinking rum and Coke, rum and Coke, rum and Coke. But I also like to put this in my French toast batter. I make ham glaze with it.
Oh, wow.
For the holidays with just this and some brown sugar and some orange juice and a little bit of the crushed red pepper flakes. You can bake with it. And actually, our person in New York got us into Marcus Samuelson's, one of Marcus Samuelson's restaurants, and he featured our spiced rum in an ice cream that he used as like a Black History Month thing. So of course we had to go up there. That was our excuse to go up and have some good food. So,
man, cheers. Oh, that is beautiful.
It is cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, allspice, and clove.
It's very balanced. Like you don't get more of one over the other. It's
Thank you. We tried really hard to make it good and balanced. Someone else, one of our customers, came in and told us that she adds this to candied yams, like just a little bit.
I can see that.
And the thing is, like, this carries a lot of flavor. So if you're using it in cooking for people, the alcohol evaporates off. So you can use just a couple tablespoons and it'll flavor your dish, but it just adds that extra little layer of flavor
This
to
is
it.
nice because sometimes you say ginger and it punches you.
Right. Yep.
But this is very subtle. As Roger would say, dangerous.
Love it.
I can see where people are like, oh yeah, I'll have 2 or 3, and then I need to sit for a bit.
Right. I need to be here for a minute. Yep.
Yeah,
That's why, we always tried to create an atmosphere that was relaxed and loungy, and, no one wants to go someplace to go have drinks and feel like you're being rushed out, and no one wants to feel like it's an uncomfortable space. So we have lots of lounge chairs and areas like people can kind of just, like, you kind of get your dinner, just sit back and, like, relax, enjoy your time, have fun with your friends, have a nice conversation, that kind of thing. So.
And that's what it should be. Alcohol is an experience. It's something to enjoy, something you should remember where you were, who you were with, and just talk about, whatever's going on.
Have a great experience.
Yeah.
So where my husband's kind of like the chemist-focused person, he does a great job with the rums. We do the blending together because I have always been into cooking and baking and flavors and things like that. So the blending we definitely do together, and we kind of have to both agree, which when you work with your husband too, you understand sometimes that leads to some, like, we're having a conversation, we'll have to table this and come back a little bit later.
Yeah.
But my biggest contribution to our distillery experience was the tasting room and the tasting room experience and the cocktail menu, because I just, making the cocktails was my favorite creative outlet, just trying to come up with things, ways to use the rums, sometimes a riff off of a classic drink, sometimes pick a theme. So we are big Star Wars fans. So for the month of May, we'd have Star Wars themed cocktails.
Oh, that's awesome.
also Marvel fans, but there's not like a month that goes with Marvel. So we would do Marvel drinks in October for Halloween.
Okay.
We had a whole Christmas themed menu. We'd pull from some things. I had a drink that was kind of a shout out to the Christmas Story and a Grinch drink.
Okay.
And we came up with a new one last year that was called Frosty's Grog. It was like a blue drink for Frosty the Snowman.
Okay.
It was just, that's been my thing. And so even in the tasting room, I made kind of a decision that I wasn't going to use artificial colors.
Yeah.
There's one brand of syrups that I will use to not have to make my own syrups all the time, but for the most part, we make our own simple syrups and then use natural ingredients to get the colors. So we did a Harry Potter themed thing at the end of July just to celebrate Harry Potter's birthday. And so the first year I came up with like 2 drinks, and the next year, so that's what happens. There's a theme, and then it's in my mind the whole time. I'm just adding to it. And this last year, what I did was I added to it a house flight. So it was a flight of 4 different cocktails that were different colors, a red, a yellow, a green, and a blue.
House.
And I had to figure out how to get these colors to be right without yellow. And you don't want to be wimpy, right? You could do lemonade for yellow, but that's not the same yellow. Like you need that golden yellow. So I did turmeric and ginger for that one.
Okay.
For the red one, I did goji berry. For the green one, I used green spirulina and matcha. And for the blue one, I used blue spirulina, which I learned green spirulina, if you use too much of it, it tastes like fish food. So that's why I had to use matcha, mellow it out, just get the color and not that fishy flavor. But.
So being from Oklahoma City Thunder just won the NBA championship.
Woohoo! Congratulations.
So for that, we were like, okay, let's play around. Let's make a blue cocktail. Now, we mostly drink neat. We are not the cocktail people, but we're going to try for you all to start doing cocktails. And so it's like, how do we make it blue? And so I used butterfly blue pea flower.
Yep, that pea flower tea is the best.
It was great. And I learned to use the hot water. That gets it blue, but after a while, it turns purple.
So it's like rhododendrons. It is acid sensitive. Mm-hmm. So what I learned from butterfly pea flower tea is if you put it in a cocktail and then you add something to keep it basic, so you add cream, or one of my favorite things to use is oatmeal creamer.
Okay.
I use the Oatly Barista Blend. Listen, y'all can send me some Oatly for free for putting you up on here. I love that. But the Oatly Barista Blend was like the right texture. One of my problems I had with some oat milk and oatmeal creamers and even like almond milk is that it's really thin. So like your cocktail doesn't have body, but that Barista Blend Oatly, perfect. So we would use that and it would keep the drink blue, or milk will, or cream will. But I always try to have something for people who don't drink dairy or can't drink dairy.
Right.
If you add citrus to it, you can turn it pink or like a pinkish purple.
Yep.
And you actually can turn something pink and then turn it back to blue if you add acid and then add back in something. So if you did it kind of almost like a creamsicle kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, because the butterfly pea flower tea doesn't really add any flavor, right? So if you added you had added orange and maybe a smidge of lemon to make it that pink and then added some cream to it to make it back to blue, you can kind of play with the color.
Man, I'm learning a lot. So Roger is kind of like our chemist. He was like, I wonder, let me grab some baking soda. And he just went like this. Boop.
Yep.
And they turned it right back to blue.
Back to blue.
And it stayed blue. I was like,
word. And really things like that you don't need a whole lot. That's the thing. I think a lot of times what I found is a lot of times you're like, oh, I need to put so much, it's gonna change the flavor. If you use a teeny bit, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
But that blue spirulina is very good. And the blue spirulina does not taste like fish food. For the record.
I will have to try that. Definitely. Gosh, what are some of the challenges you all have had starting Striped Lion?
Oh gosh. So, well, so one of our earliest challenges when we first started this, it's hard to get pricing for things that's accurate when you don't have your permit, because all the places you order things for want your permit number in order to give you their price sheet. So we kind of had to do deep diving on the internet to try to find research. So we had a pretty good budget, and then we did whatever our budget was and times, I think we multiplied by 1.25. We're like, this is what we're looking for. Okay. And we both pulled from our 401ks, borrowed from our 401ks, took out a loan, and we had probably about 60% of the funds we thought we needed sitting there, thinking that we'd be able to get an SBA loan. Because when you look on the SBA website, they're like, banks give SBA loans. You only have to actually have 10% of it. That is interesting for them to say that, because it's really, I think, something that would be better for them to clarify is that it really will depend on the bank itself as to whether or not they want to lend to you. And just like every other person with melanin in their skin, getting access to money is not easy. And they always want us to have like 100% collateral, which I'm like, if I had 100% collateral, I wouldn't really need you asking you questions. And unfortunately, in order to get the federal permit, so we need a federal permit and you need a state permit in order to have a distillery. And in order to get the federal permit, you have to have a signed lease or a deed. Like you need to show that you have ownership of the property, or that if you don't own the property, the person who does own the property is okay with it being a distillery. And because we had to do that and, plan that on our timeline, we were paying rent for months with being turned down from banks and then even from some of the state alternative loan programs. So access to funds access to capital was definitely an issue. And right now, as it stands, right this moment, our business is 100% Black owned and 55% women owned. Because the owners are myself and my husband at 45% each, and his sister is a 10% owner. But in our next iteration, we are well aware that we are probably going to have to look for investors. And it's challenging to try to look for investors because most investors are not going to keep it at 100% Black owned. We have some options that we're looking at. Some people we're digging down in the crates to see like who might we know or might know, because we really
that friends and family round.
Correct. We recognize at this point that in order for this next iteration for us to be successful in the way we need it to be successful and not be slow, is that we need to have money up front. And then we can project out and show people how we can make them a profit, but we need to have that chunk of money up front. It's been a slow process because every time you're trying to use your own funds, but when your own funds are limited by your job, right? In time, like we were both working. Right now, my husband is just doing this right now, and I'm the only one working, so that's been stressful. We also have had some challenges related to part of the reason why when we looked at our options for either trying to stay in our same location and procure the building or move away, we really took a look at how things have changed. We've been open for 4.5 years, but we actually have been in the building for almost 10. For 9 years, we've been in that building. And in those 9 years, a lot of things have changed about the location that we're in. And there used to be like a hospital down the road. That hospital has since moved, and that created a whole bunch of traffic flow that was routed by us is now not there. Also, the city has stopped doing a lot of activities. They used to have, like every weekend, there was something going on downtown. Now there's not. So all those things change, how you can perceive of things and how you can get traffic flow. So that was part of another challenge that we faced is having visitorship decline because of things that are outside of our control. You can't control it. People who come are like, oh my gosh, this is great. We thought the cocktails will be back. I can't believe it's taken us this long to find you. But that's been the issue. So we're looking to move to a place where there's more people coming around and where it's not going to change. It's got to be a place that is central and it's not like,
hinged on two businesses still being there. Because when those two businesses leave,
we've seen that's an issue.
So how's distribution been for you all?
We self-distribute in state, which is helpful. That's part of our licensure allowance in the state of New Jersey. We actually have a distributor in New York. It's a small producer and small distributor. So one of the challenges there has just been, they have only a certain number of people to kind of help carry it. And even though New York is kind of close, it's a 2-hour drive from here. We still have to take like a day and, really plan out things if we want to go try to help with sales there. And we actually have the ability to sell in California and in Florida as well through LibDib. We've been in the process of trying to grow our California market. We actually, last fall, sold into one of the greatest tiki bars in San Francisco, Smuggler's Cove. So that was kind of exciting. And we're heading to rum festivals this fall to try to kind of get our footprint in LA and kind of widen our footprint in the San Francisco area. Everything is just a challenge. I think, in the spirit world in general, things are a challenge. If you look at the generation that's just now coming into adulthood, a lot of them are doing low ABV things and mocktails and being more conscientious about that. We do find that actually our benefit there is that when they do drink alcohol, they want to drink alcohol that doesn't have a lot of stuff added to it. So,
Yep, there it is.
Right? But that's, you know, that's kind of just something to be aware of in the changing landscape. Interestingly, as cannabis has been legalized more on around the country, people now have a little bit more variety of where they can spend their dollars on their entertainment and their, you know, so that has changed things. So like the world of alcohol is changing in general, but also as a small producer, and I won't say it's just being a minority producer, I think it's just being a small producer, a lot of the bigger brands are able to sort of flood the market with their products because they have a lot of money for marketing. They have a lot of money to give freebies. So we've we thought at the outset, you know, for sure, there's plenty of places in our area that are locavore places, right? People go there because it's local, and these places are going to want to have the local spirits, and they're interested in it, and they taste it and they think it's good, but they want us to give them like a discount or a rebate or free bar mats or whatever. And I'm like, we don't have those things to give you. Like, we just don't. So that's been a challenge too. But we're certainly stubborn, right? We're very stubborn people. Kind of like, no, you don't understand. You need to have this rum. This rum belongs in your life. It's good for you. So.
Okay, this has been awesome. We appreciate you being here. Special shout out to Omega's here in Merchantville, New Jersey, for letting us shoot here as we're still on location. One of the things we like to do here is we do a toast. Please like, subscribe, and share. But we always say, drink to remember, not to forget.
Drink to remember, not to forget. Cheers.
Damn, that's so good.